This video will contain spoilers. I'm recording this kind of late because I seen Klein in the Cornfield on Saturday and Ballerina on Sunday. I'm recording this on Tuesday, but anyway. Klein in the Cornfield, mixed ratings. I watched it in cinema. Kevin Durant, I'm pretty sure he was the voice of the bad guy in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, but I'm not sure. Will Sasso. The name sounds familiar. I think he was in something, but I'm not sure. I seen the trailer for this when we went and see 28 Days Later. I didn't expect it to be released in cinema because it's a Shudder original. I always saw Shudder as like the streaming equivalent of Blumhouse, where it's basically just, oh, you have an idea for a horror film? Okay, let's produce it. I don't need to hear what the idea is. We're just going to make it. We don't care about how much money it makes, how good it is, or anything like that. We're just going to make it because it's horror. Despite that, I did really enjoy this. It's very stupid at times, and it's somewhat intentional because this is the same director as Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. But there was this girl that I went to school with who would always say shoddy. Like, does not matter what you're talking to her about. You could say, like, your fucking mum died, and she'd be like, oh, shoddy, I wish I was dead. I can't remember what the line was, but there was someone that said something that reminded me of her. And I thought this whole script might as well have been written by her. I'm glad they didn't go down the route of, like, Scream or something like that, because, I was thinking they'll probably do that where, you think there's one killer, but actually there's two or something like that. And it was fine when Hard Eyes did it, but if Klein and Cornfield did it, it wouldn't have been good. Luckily they didn't. I like that whole thing of like the purge shit, and I mean that in the literal sense of the word. I don't mean like the movie The Purge. Uh, the film also kind of seems like it has a message of fuck boomers, which I agree with. Although, anytime someone in media or whatever, not even media in real life as well, says fuck boomers, usually it's for retarded reasons like climate change. Fuck boomers because they, even though they're only in their 50s, they act like they have dementia. They act like they are on their deathbeds. They act very, very entitled. They don't consider anyone's context, even though you could have had something happen to you which fucks them over, but they won't let that pass. They will shout at you for or do something worse, even though they've gone through the exact same thing, because it's just a human thing that everyone goes through. At the scene where Quinn tries to drive away, but she realizes it's a manual, I'm glad that she didn't like suddenly figure it out, because if you're trying to figure out driving on your own when you know nothing, it's gonna take more than a few seconds. So I'm glad that they didn't make that happen. I love the bit where, you know, all the girls figure out that that Cole and Rust are gay. That was really good. And they didn't like wokeify it or anything. It was just, they are gay. End of. Um, The only other thing I really have to say is that, going back to the writing, there was one. Characters will talk out loud, and I don't like it when characters talk out loud in films, like if they're just talking to themselves, because like, I would think that this is a normal thing, the way that I work, where if I have a thought, I keep it in my head, I don't say it out loud. Maybe I'm in the minority, but I don't know, that just seems like the normal thing to do. But it happens quite often where you'll have a character say something out loud, and maybe they do it for exposition in the case of this film, but a lot of times it's not for exposition, it's just there for the sake of it. But with this, like, Jesus, it was stupid. You know, the reveal twist that was more than one friendo, that there's like a shit ton of them, and like 4 or 5 of them pop out of the bushes, and like when it's like, that's a lot of friendos, huh? That was retarded. Overall, a very stupid film, but it's entertaining enough, and it's not just entertaining because of its stupidity. It's both, and it's like one isn't related to the other. The title of this film has been changed to just Ballerina. Universally positive ratings. Directed by Len Wiseman. I watched it in cinema with Bin Man and Ginger. Anna de Armas, Lance Reddick, rest in peace. Keanu Reeves, Norman Reedus, Ian McShane, Angelica Houston. Gabriel Byrne looks and sounds familiar, but I can't place him. I just want to get this out of the way, this first thing. There is a guy in the film who runs a gun shop, and he has a name badge, and his name is Frank. And him and Anna de Armas are talking for a bit, and then he says to her, "Can I be Frank?" If this were any other film, I would write that off as just a very, very stupid joke, but because this is John Wick, it seems right for the universe. Speaking of things seeming right, really all I have to say about the film is that it's very, very fucking stupid. It's like John Wick 4. Like, the fact that in the film, most, if not all of the fights are extended a lot further than they should be. Like, I was going to name a particular scene, but just look at any scene in the film. It lasts a lot longer than it should. And then later on, there's a lot of ridiculous stuff. Like, there was the fight on the staircase. Like, he's fighting people at the bottom of the stairs, and they're all dead. He goes up the stairs. Excuse me. He goes up the stairs. Someone's at the top of the stairs, kicks him. He falls down, and even though the staircase has like gaps, like it's not just constant stairs. There's a little bit where it's like the size of 2 stairs, but it doesn't go down or up. It's flat, if you know what I mean. It's one of those staircases. He falls, like, it continues falling. Realistically, once he gets to that point, he should be able to stop himself and get back up, and no, they need to go way down to the bottom of the stairs, and it's very, very long stairs. And then the context of that scene is that he needs to get to a particular place by sunrise, And he says at that point, sunrise is in 10 minutes. The fight scene following that lasts 15 minutes. So really, he should have been late, but no, he was on time. That is the stupidity of John Wick 4, and Ballerina is as stupid as John Wick 4, but it's just not as long. So, if you ask me, if you're gonna rank the films, I would say 4 is the worst. This is the second worst. 3 sits dead in the middle. 1 is the second best, and 2 is the best. The film is stupid because Eve, who's Anna de Armas' character, is invincible, like more invincible than John Wick. And I'm not just saying that because John dies, because she uses a lot of grenades in the film. Like I get that with the scene in the gun shop, it was because it was all there was. But there's even shit later on where she uses the grenades. Like it's as if she's addicted to them, and she'll place them really close to her, but she'll hide behind like a fucking cardboard box and live. That's how stupid the film is. Like, she placed one in a guy's mouth and put him sort of like behind a door. It was like a steel door, and she lived because she was behind the steel door. She put a grenade, like, sorry about that. She has a sachet of grenades, and she pulls the pin out of one of them, but doesn't pull it out of the sachet. She ties the sachet around a guy's neck and pulls on it to choke him, and just wait for the grenade to explode. And she hid behind like one of those army crates you see guns and shit being stored in films. And because she hid behind that, she was fine. There was another scene where he had like a cardboard box full of grenades, or one of those army boxes. She kicks it down some stairs, and because she's upstairs, she lives. And it's just that over and over and over. And then later on, you have that fight where she has the like water hose, that's the word, and another guy's a flamethrower, and they're like sort of trying to overpower one another, but it doesn't fucking work. Like, she uses all the water in the hose, and he still has fuel left for the flamethrower. She only lived because John shot the canister that the fuel's in, and it explodes. And even though she's pretty close to him, she's fine. Speaking of John, they should not have had him fight her. Like, it's one thing to have John in the film. I don't have a problem with that. But it's just, you shouldn't make them fight, because obviously you're going to have to make up some sort of excuse for there to be a tie or something like that, because it was supposed to be a fight to the death between the two. And it just didn't make any sense. That's why he gave up. I read the entire trivia section for the IMDb page of the film, and I didn't like the fact that it was originally written as something that is literally fuck all to do with John Wick. Because in that case, then I would rather they have made that standalone film. If it were intended to be a John Wick spin-off from the start, that would have been fine. And also, what I read about what the original script was, that sounds really, really fucking interesting. Because as much as I really like the film, because as I was saying about in my reaction to the Nobody 2 trailer about iconic stuff. 99% of the trailer for Ballerina, all of them, is iconic. And then there's some stuff that isn't in the trailer that's iconic, like a scene where it doesn't show the fight, it shows the aftermath of the fight. She's wearing a fucking suit, and she used a bunch of throwing knives, and it shows her picking up the throwing knives like they're fucking collectibles. And then she leaves the place and immediately like get into a hit and run, and it's just that was done great, even though it's a very short scene. Something else that the page said was that it was basically ghost directed quite a lot by Chad Stahelski, who is the creator of John. Like, he directed the first four. Apparently, before he stepped in, the film was absolute dog shit, but I just don't understand that, because I'm not saying that the film's perfect or that literally every single thing that's in the film is good, but it's just, unless Chad remade the film from the very, very start, like, what the fuck did he add and what the fuck did he not? Because, like, there was so much that was good about the film. That scene that I just mentioned was good. The scene where she's doing training was good. The scene at the club with the ice and shit was good. This everything to do with the frozen village was good. That's basically the whole film. It was all good. Like, it's a, as I said with Caesar, it's a very, very silly film, but it's a very, very fun film. I think that's all there is to say.